All right, Shalom. Before I begin this lesson, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Racha, Kadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the Great Millstone who to rule and teach well. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham. Peace and blessings, salutations as always to the hopeful elect, sincere Akim, noising this gospel abroad, keeping the faith and testimony of our Lord Yahweh Shai, occupying in the prophecies and faith until our Lord come, and to the few sincere Aquath who listen and learn as well. To you I say Shalom. So this will be another installment of a news and prophecy going into some of the events taking place in the planet Earth to let the sincere believers know that the words of the Heavenly Father are faithful and true, and what is written of in the testimony of the law and the prophets is coming to pass in these times now, and that our redemption, salvation is very near. So I want to start off with this video right here. You Aquath have more than likely already seen this video, but there was a U.S. Marine who stood up at this court hearing, all right, for I believe it was for a protest against the Iran war and what's going on in Gaza. And you know, he basically got his arm broken, and when he stood up to speak, he was taken away by armed guards that were inside of his courthouse. And if this shows you anything, you know, this is to let you know that there really is no freedom of speech, you know, especially when it comes to speaking out against the little tops. You know, you can't speak against them. You cannot say the truth against them, or else there will be consequences, man. So this illusion of freedom of speech and being able to say what you want to say without consequence, those days are over, all right? Because they even doing this to military veterans, all right? So how much more the lower level Babylonian soon come? But this is to show you that this place, America, Babylon the Great, is extremely divided, and that this place is going down, man. This place is about to fall. Because when you see stuff happening like this, because this would have never happened 30, 40, 50 years ago, you see? But we're in a different time now to where it's well known. You have a phenomenon known as the Great Noticing, okay, where everybody is noticing that one particular group of people have supremacy over everybody else, okay, even the average Edomite, and that's the tiny top. You know, they pretty much run America. Bibi, he's came over to America 7 times since Trump came in office to push this Iran war, and now they have it. And there's a big pushback from Babylonians, you know, or a certain segment of Babylonians that don't want to see this war go down, but it's already too late. And what people fail to understand is that this war fulfills biblical prophecy, so there is no going back. We are in the very early stages of World War III, as is prophesied, all right? So you have major division here in Babylon the Great, and it's only going to intensify as the days go on, because we're only 1 week into this war, and things are already super bad. So the worst is yet to come. So, you know, with that being said, let's go ahead and play this.
Stand up as a Marine and stand up for America. No one wants to fight for Israel.
Let go of your hand. Let go of the door. Let go of the door.
The senator broke his hand. A sitting U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine.
Sir.
Control your Senate.
We're stuck in the door. Okay, sir.
A U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine.
Hand's stuck.
A U.S. senator just broke the hand of a Marine. You're a coward.
Punk.
What do you say, Senator?
Thank
That's why you got kicked out.
Why are you getting arrested?
Free Palestine. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, Palestine will be free. Please stand up.
So these Edomites, they're losing it, all right, because they see that their beloved America, all right, because this guy's a veteran, you know, he went out to fight for this country, which that's what they should do because they're Edomites, you know what I'm saying? This is their hegemon that they're protecting. For you Israelites, you have no part in being in the so-called white man's army, okay? There's no benefit for you. This is not your kingdom. But for these Edomites that go out and fight for the interests of their elites, all right, which their elites, they look at them as goyim, as cattle, you know, useless, expendable eaters that they use to go out and fight for the interests of their wars. You see, because when you look at it, the average American citizen has no dealings with Iran, all right? Iran is not a threat to Babylon the Great, but Iran is a threat to the nation of the small hats. And that's why, you know, because we know that Netanyahu, he has blackmail via Epstein on Trump. And I gotta say this as well. It must be some really horrific, sick, twisted stuff that these devils have on Trump for him to be going along with this war. All right, because we know Trump is a freak, you know. But what's in those files that haven't came out, you know, that's part of the reason why he started off this whole war as a distraction. But whatever's in those files that Trump is involved in that he doesn't want to come out, is some very serious stuff. You see. So they got major blackmail on this dude, and that's why he's the front runner to jump these wars off. See? But this is what you have, you know, and everybody in that room saw how they treated this U.S. military veteran. So if they'll treat a U.S. military veteran like this, then you know they don't give a damn about any of the people that are inside this room protesting against these wars and all of what's going on. And I saw another clip in which it was the same guy. You know, he said that his wife was a Palestinian. So for him, this in particular hits close to home. So that's why he stood up and was outspoken and bold about his stance. And he gets taken away by force. You know, they broke his hand and all that type of stuff. So this place, Babylon, is divided, man, showing you that we're not in a time of love and peace and everybody getting along. This is a time of great division on the earth. And when you get that in Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter, this is Ecclesiastes 3 and 8, a time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. We're not in a time of peace and love. We're in a time of hate and war. You see? So that's why these things are happening as they're happening, man, because ultimately this is the determination of Yahweh Bashmiel Shai to bring Babylon down from within first. Then you're going to have the outside destruction finish this place off, just like it was in the ancient Western Roman Empire. Okay, ancient Western Rome fell from within first, then the outside enemy came and finished them off, man. This place is going the same very way. You see? And part of that is civil war. Isaiah 19 in verse 1. Message to Egypt, which America, Babylon the Great, is modern day spiritual Egypt. And it reads, Isaiah 19 and 1. The burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. See? So the Lord said that they shall fight every one against his brother and every one against his neighbor. There's major division here. The people in America are not united, but they're divided in many different ways. city against city and kingdom against kingdom, and the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof. And I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to the idols and to the charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, and to the wizards. So this is what's going on. All right, the spirit of Egypt is failing. And that's why you have a U.S. Marine crashing out in a protest court session, man. Because the morale here is completely done. And you know what I'm saying? You look at the comments, right? If this happened in Iran, they would use that as a reason to go to war, you see? Which that's a fact. All right, because and one thing again is when you look at these foreign nations, they're much more united than these Americans, man. Okay, these Americans don't want to go to war. When you look at China, Russia, Iran, Iraq, you know, just to name a few nations, they're all pretty much on the same resolve. They're like, listen, you know, we're going to defend ourselves against the whore. We're not going to take any more of this BS that the West has been running with. Now is the time for us to rise up. They're all on the same page. These Americans, they realize that their government is corrupt and that this regime don't give a damn about them. So there's no morale. There's no reason for them to go out and fight. And that's why they're going to rebel against their authorities, man. And we can get that in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter. But this is what you have going on, right? They can't even allow a former Marine express his opinion in public. Democracy only in name, see? And even when you talk to the higher officials in America, they won't tell you that this is a democracy. They'll tell you that this is a republic. Okay, so they sold you that bullshit lie of America being a democracy in school to make it sound good, man. But no, really, this is an oligarchy. This is the rule of a few, referring to the elites. All right, these Americans don't make no decisions, and that's why they give you the whole illusion of voting. Okay, oh, you go vote at the midterms, or you go vote at, you know, the presidency, and people feel like their voice matters, which it doesn't, because they select who they want to be in there. Your vote don't mean a goddamn thing. All right, they just do that to make you feel like you have a choice. Okay, it's only a democracy in name, but not in practice or deed. Right, free speech in action.
Yeah, so tell me how I'm in.
Please stand up.
Yeah, it's lucky for that, right? What an absolute shambles of a country, right? So, yeah, this place is done. Please, men of USA, refuse to fight their agenda wars. Refuse. This is how you will be treated, all right? And yeah, people are seeing this and they're like, damn, if they're treating their military veterans like this, then they really don't give a damn about any American. All these people are going to be used for is pawns to be thrown out into the meat grinder for the small hats. And people know this now, man. So that's why, right, when you get 2nd Ezra 15, what does it say? Let's get it. 2nd Ezra 15. Yeah, 2nd Ezra 15 and 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, referring to the governor, the mayor, the president, you know, the city councilman. Okay, they're not going to listen to these people, man, because why? People see that you not working for us. You know what I'm saying? You're not in that position to benefit the interests of the American people. So to hell with you. That's the attitude now. And the course of their actions shall stand in their power, meaning that people going to do what they want to do. All right? They're going to be like, F these higher officials. They not for us anyway. We're going to do what we want to do. See? So that's the attitude that's going on right now, man. People are defying, all right, their higher officials. So this is the fall of Babylon the Great, and that's why you have so many Americans leaving in such record numbers now, because they see that it's done. They see that there's no future here. They see that there's no light at the end of the tunnel for America. It's over with. So then when you get this, right? All these damn ads, all right? Okay, from Daily Mail, nail bombs left at mayor's home. Okay? And notice this, 6 arrested after homemade nail bombs launched at home of NYC mayor. All right, so we know that this is a clear psyop. This is another one of Esau's wag the dog events. Okay, whenever you see that number 6, 33, 9, you know, whenever you see those type of numbers, this is a Masonic ritual here. All right, meaning that, all right, because they already told you that you know what I'm saying, that you're about to start seeing attacks on American soil. Because we know these devils, they want to bring in martial law. You know what I'm saying? They want to lock the cities down. And they want to justify throwing people in camps. All right, those who dissent against this NWO. So they'll send out, you know, MK Ultra agents, you know, Manchurian candidates. All right, they'll just pay people off to go out and do madness to justify bringing in certain laws that they can justify taking away your rights. Okay, that's what these things are all about.
Actually, I canceled my timeshare. Yeah, it was really easy.
Let's go, stop.
Get somebody on the other side.
Get somebody on the other side.
A counter-protester, identified as Amir Balat, an 18-year-old man, lit and threw an ignited device toward the protest area, landing in the crosswalk of East 87th Street and East End Avenue. Witnesses reported seeing flames and smoke as it traveled through the air before it struck a barrier and extinguished itself a few feet from police officers. Preliminary examination and X-ray imaging the devices, which were a bit smaller than a football, appear to be a jar wrapped in black tape, importantly with nuts, bolts, and screws, along with a hobby fuse that could be lit.
Sermon was charged.
All right, so we have a lot of madness going on in this place, man. 6 people were arrested Saturday after homemade explosive devices were thrown near the home of New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani during a protest. The devices contained nuts, bolts, screws, and a fuse, according to NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch. Authorities said it was not immediately clear whether the devices were functional, bombs, or hoax imitations. There was no indication the incident was related to the ongoing hostilities in Iran and the Middle East. Panic erupted as far-right influencer Jake Lang was leading an anti-Muslim protest outside Gracie Mansion, Mamdani's official residence. Lang was denouncing what he called the, quote, Islamification of the city and demanding an end to public Muslim prayer in New York when 2 suspects were seen lighting and lobbing the devices near a line of police. And this goes into the greater World War III narrative, in which when you read the Albert Pike letter, you know, he speaks about how World War III would basically be fought between, would basically be a holy war between the Muslims and the Christians, and that at the end of it, they want to bring about complete Satanism on the earth. All right, and you had that devil Pete Hegseth, the head of the Department of War. You know, he's basically told the troops that this war is basically a crusade to bring, you know, who they call Christ, which we know is Yahweh Shai, back to the earth. You know what I'm saying? That this is basically a holy war against the Muslims. So that narrative, all right, is being pushed heavy right now. See, that's why they said they got people out there denouncing, protesting against the Islamification of the city. So all of this goes into the narrative of what these elite devils want to bring about on the earth. All right, but just know that this place, America, is already crazy, but things are gonna get much, much worse. Okay, I remember brothers going into it last year when it came out, the cover of the Economist magazine. You know, they showed you wars on there, they showed you diseases, they showed you economic collapse, they showed you mass civil unrest. Okay, so you saw a lot of things on there. And with this, they saying 6 people were taken into custody, man. Showing you that this thing is a ritual, okay? Because these devils deal with the number 6, man. You know what I'm saying? That's a high satanic number for these elite devils. You see? And who even knows, man? Like this whole protest could have been set up by George Soros. All right, then this happens. See? So there's a lot going on that you got to pay attention to. But nonetheless, you know, the elect will not be deceived. So moving on here, right? Dealing with this, what's going on over there in Western Asia, okay? This is from Dabu 7. Apocalyptic massive fireballs over Tehran as bombs hit Iran. A war of the oil refineries opens. So what's going on right now is that, because when the war first jumped off, you had Iran that was hitting very strategic U.S. assets in the region, such as oil refineries, desalination plants, U.S. bases, things like that. So now that you have other nations being drawn into this war, you have now Iranian oil refinement facilities now being bombed. Okay, and of course we know that right now the Strait of Hormuz is pretty much shut down. No traffic is really moving through there, which is causing global markets to go crazy right now. All right, and they're predicting that Monday is going to be the worst day for the stock market. All right, so we'll see what happens, but this war is making things exponentially worse for the global economy. All right, and the elites are going to use this to usher in the Great Reset, because very soon, you know, these repercussions of war are going to hit America. It's not going to happen overnight, because we're only in week 1 of this war, man, but things are going to get critical very, very soon. All right, gas is going to go up. The cost of food, you know, farmers are going to have to shut down business because they're not going to be able to afford, you know, to keep their crops up, man. You know, the stock market is going to go down. Businesses are closing down at a alarming rate. So everything is going to hell. And this is the Lord fighting for his elect. All right, because before, you know, the elect get delivered, Babylon the Great has to be weakened and taken down, man. And that's what we're seeing happen. Okay, all these nations really are being taken down. But America being the focal point, Babylon the Great. So let's play this by Dabu.
This is Dabu 7. You were looking at apocalyptic looking scenes out of Iran as the U.S. military and Israel have started bombing oil depots. And they're saying that the rain coming down is soaked in oil in many of these areas. You can see the downtown areas right here really looking apocalyptic. The people walking around, nothing but smoke and fire filling the skies. And as daylight is broke over Tehran, you can't even tell that it's daytime. So now we have multiple sites that have been hit by missiles or drones. We also have the U.S. Embassy in Oslo being rocked by a loud explosion. We're not sure exactly what happened there, but we know that these attacks, the blowback, is real, and it's going to be hitting just about everywhere. There's parts of Tel Aviv that are starting to look like Gaza because it's getting hit so hard by the missiles. And there is word that Iran has announced it's chosen a new supreme leader, but they're keeping it under wraps because they fear if they announce exactly who it is, they're going to kill him or try to assassinate him. They did, however, say that Ayatollah Khomeini's son was the top prospect to take over this spot. He's like 56 years old. He was actually injured in the bombing here recently, but he survived. It's like they announced this, but then they pulled it back real quick because they realized that if they let it be known who the leader is, the pick is, they're going to bomb that spot. They're going to bomb that person instantly. So it's a situation that's unfolding right now where 9 days of strikes across the Middle East have left a lot of these places looking like you see in the images here. We also have the situation around the Straits of Hormuz. It's shutting everything down. Only the people that they're allowing, like the Chinese vessels or Russian vessels, are allowed to enter into this area. If not, guys are running up on the boats in speedboats with guns like you see on the right, and they're checking them. So people are staying back in the Gulf, so to speak, and they're not transiting this region unless they get a pass from Iran. And again, they say no one knows who the supreme leader is going to be at this point, but I have a feeling that they've already made the pick and they're keeping it quiet. That's what many are saying on the outside of this anyway. So the oil prices expected to hit over $100. Remember, Trump said he doesn't really care. He knows that the prices of gas is going to go up. He doesn't seem to care much at all with everything else through the roof.
And of course he don't care, because it's not going to affect him. You know, him and his billionaire buddies, it's not going to affect them. But who is it going to affect? It's going to affect the low-level American, okay, the average citizen out here, man, who's barely making ends meet as it is. All right, and this is furthermore why you're going to see civil wars jump off, man, because once they, crash the banks, because the banks are going to go under soon. It's going to be a major cyber attack in the economic sector. But these people are too comfortable, man, so they're going to have to do something, all right, because they need this civil war, this civil unrest, all right, and this purge-like scenario to come in America for them to bring in the order. Okay, that's what these devils need, man. So they're going to have to make something happen real soon to where they're going to leave people with no choice but to revolt, But this is what you have going on right now in Iran and in that, Straits of Hormuz, so-called Middle East region, man. Things are super duper hot, you know what I'm saying? And the Lord is only going to turn it up, all right? So, Dabu was talking about nobody knows who the supreme leader of Iran is now. Well, now we know. All right, now they've let it be known that it is indeed the Ayatollah Khamenei's son. All right, his name is Mojtaba Khamenei, Iran's new supreme leader, right? And this guy right here, all right, you can look at his face, and this nigga got revenge on his mom, man. You know what I'm saying? They done took his father out, and the Ayatollah Khamenei that they offed, the other day, he was vehemently against getting nuclear weapons for Iran, all right? Because I believe it went against the Sharia law or something like that, so he wasn't for having weapons of mass destruction, you see, but his son is, all right? His son is all for it, you know what I'm saying? Because now Iran done raised the red flag of revenge, and they out for blood, right? And they have an evil eye, set against the West, America, the small hats, okay? So reading some of this here, Mojtaba Khamenei, the son of Iran's Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in U.S.-Israeli strikes, has been chosen as his successor. Unlike his father, the 56-year-old has largely kept a low profile. He has never held government office nor given public speeches or interviews, and only a limited number of photos and videos of him have ever been published. But for years, there have been rumors that he held considerable influence behind the scenes in Iran. U.S. diplomatic cables, which were published by WikiLeaks in the late 2000s, described him as, quote, the power behind the robes, who was widely regarded as, quote, a capable and forceful figure within the regime. All right, so he's been chosen to now succeed his father, and what a very interesting time for him to take over in a time of war. Yet his selection could still prove controversial. The Islamic Republic was founded in 1979 after the monarchy was overthrown. which they overthrew the American-led monarchy. Okay, that was I believe it came in the 1950s, and was ousted in 1979, which they just celebrated about 2 weeks ago. All right. And its ideology is based on the principle that the supreme leader should be chosen for his religious standing and proven leadership, not through hereditary succession. All right. So now his son is in there, and best believe that he about to turn it up. All right. The Lord gonna put the spirit on him. All right, to get a nuke. You see, in Babylon is already talking about putting special forces on the ground. All right, to eliminate the nuclear stockpile in Iran. All right, because you already know now that Iran, I believe they put out a statement saying that now they must have nuclear weapons, because that's the only thing. That's really like the last option left. Anything else is not going to work. They're not trying to talk with America. They're not trying to be diplomatic no more. They like, listen, all guns is blazing. We going all out. Okay, because they understand in America, you can't trust them. All right, Esau has a very poor track record of keeping his word. So they not about to negotiate nothing with Esau, man. They want revenge. They want blood. And the only way that they see that they can really take down this whore is through nuclear means, okay? Missiles. All right? So as that. Now dealing with this global economy, Iran war snarls global supply chains from agriculture to fashion. The impacts stretch beyond the oil industry. It says here, the nearly week-old Iran war raged on yesterday, expanding to more countries and further imperiling the seas and skies in the Middle East. The U.S. and Israel continued bombing targets in Iran yesterday, while Iran retaliated with strikes across the region. All right, so let's get to the point. Cargo ripple effects. Iran's closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which carries 20% of the world's oil, has slowed traffic to a trickle through the vital trade route. That's affecting industries well beyond just the transit of fuel, as the waterway is also vital to the global food supply chain. See that? Now, okay, when you let's go here. Okay. Because what did Yahushua say? Matthew 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Right? So we see all these things happening. We see the wars and rumors of wars. We're seeing things are getting worse. But Yahushua told us, that these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Because we understand through prophecy that we're still waiting on the MOTB to come. Now, once these devils mandate the MOTB, and this is a way of life, they say you can't buy and sell without this thing, then we can look and expect for things to go nuclear, because that's pretty much the end game. All right, because we know right now that we're in World War III, the beginning stages, but it's not going to go nuclear until the MOTB is brought about. So the end is not yet. We're still waiting on that. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in diverse places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. Okay, so we're in the beginning of sorrows right now, man. Things are going from bad to worse every single day. People's mental health is failing them. People have less money on hand now than ever. People's hope, their morale is in the toilet. And the imminent threat of war is constantly on people's minds. People having to get drafted, go to war, things like that. All right. But the Lord said there would be famines, right? And pestilence, disease. Okay. So when it says in this article here that this is vital, all right, to the global food supply chain, that you already know what the repercussions of this is going to be. That there's going to be famines, worldwide famines that are going to occur from this, man. Because the longer that the strait stays shut down, the higher risk of global food insecurity that there will be. No doubt about it. So check this out. farmers have been hit by soaring nitrogen fertilizer costs. Much of the supply comes from the Middle East. You see that? So the Middle East, all right, the so-called Middle East, Western Asia, all right, historically has been known as the Fertile Crescent, okay, to where it's very rich lands over there, a lot of agriculture and oil production and gas production, things like that go on, man. So the fact that the war is going on in that region, see, the Lord is beautiful, man. Like Yahweh Bashmil Shah is setting everything up, all right, to fulfill prophecy, okay? So much of nitrogen that farmers use, all right, comes from that region of the world. So with all this war going on, okay, because farms are getting hit as well, lands are being, stripped bare. You see what I'm saying? So this is going to affect the global output of nitrogen fertilizer that farmers need to grow their crops. So this is going to directly lead to famine. Experts, experts say this could undermine global agricultural production and potentially push up grocery prices, which it will. And we already seen that the prices of groceries are going up, and this is only week 1. You see? Aside from the food biz, Victoria's Secret said the conflict has caused shipping delays, while Abercrombie expects, quote, sales headwinds due to sourcing hitches in the region. Treacherous skies above the Middle Eastern air hubs are threatening to strain supply chains for products commonly transported by plane, like pharmaceuticals and electronics. Yeah, because with all them bombs flying over there, a lot of air traffic is being halted. You see? Because it's not safe to fly when you got all them bombs going through the air, man. You see? Rising air freight prices because of, oil, the price of oil going up due to the conflict could eventually be passed on to shoppers. You see that? So look, man, things, as we tell you through the spirit, man, things are getting out of control. And the longer that this war rages on, all right, people are about to lose. You see? And this is, when you get this right here, check this out, okay? This is happening in New York, but this is happening all around the country, all around American Babylon the Great, man. Chain restaurants closing by the hundreds. New Yorkers fed up with prices, okay? Now, New York is already a above average state for cost of living, you know what I'm saying? But with this conflict going on, it's only going to exacerbate that, make it worse, all right? And like I said, man, this is the norm for the whole of Babylon the Great, not just New York, okay? So this war is having much more implications than just bombs being flown and lives being lost overseas, man. This thing is hitting right here in Babylon as well. Check this out.
Well, chain restaurants used to dominate around the country. They were a fun place to grab a meal at an affordable price.
Yeah, but recently many are struggling, even going out of business, as Arthur Chian reports. Inflation, high labor costs, and changing tastes are all playing a part.
It's like noticed a lot of prices on TV are jacked up from what they were before.
The delis sometimes will cross out and they'll have like the new prices. So yeah, the prices definitely went up.
As customers, we see the rising prices, even in places that are go-tos for a cheap meal. Food industry analysts say what we do not see is how, even though prices are going up for us, profits for food chains are going down. Their margins squeezed by skyrocketing inflation costs, which are driving up their labor and food costs.
Their dollar profits actually shrank. So they're making less money, not more money. And that's counterintuitive because the consumer is complaining about prices rising too much.
With the margins squeezed, major chain restaurants have started closing stores by the hundreds across the U.S., including here in New York City.
And closing down all these stores means what? Less jobs. See? All these stores closing down means that people are going to have less work, less money on hand, and with the prices going up, you know what I'm saying, you're going to see a lot more homelessness, a lot more robberies, theft, and just a lot more crash outs, man. So these devils know what they're doing.
Wendy's alone says it's planning to close 350 of its restaurants. Following suit are other well-known chains, including Papa John's and Pizza Hut. Threatening to take these changes even further, an entire generation of Gen Zers are tiring of so-called slop bowl chains like Sweetgreens and Chipotle.
Mostly just grocery shopping, cook for myself.
Yeah.
Smarter. Yeah, it's just easier.
I've been eating more, supporting more of the local trucks here and the carts here, because I think that as the prices go up for those corporations, we should be helping our fellow New Yorkers.
While the closing of chain restaurants is getting attention because they are well-known names, industry analysts say the squeeze is on for restaurants on every level, including mom and pops. They say the key to survival at this point is finding ways to get customers in through the door, which some are doing.
Burger King did the SpongeBob SquarePants promotion. It was also very effective driving traffic, and that's going to help improve four-wall cash flow on your fixed costs, and that's going to drive profit expansion rather than compression.
A possible roadmap to survival in an uncertain time. Arthur Chien, Fox 5 News.
Yeah, this place is through. See? Let's get, what was I thinking of? Yeah, Revelation 6. Okay. So okay. Revelation 6 chapter. Let's give it a second. Revelation chapter 6 and verse 5. The third seal, famine. And when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, Come and see. And I beheld, and lo, a black horse. And he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts say, A measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Okay, so this here is speaking about inflation and famine, man. Okay, with all these food restaurants closing down, that's going to cause food deserts. Okay, all right, because it also tells you, which we can get it in 2nd Ezra 6 chapter, that the full storehouses shall be found empty. All right, they shall appear empty. So we know that these global supply chain issues are going to increase to a point to where nothing is going to be coming in. Fuel price is going to increase to the point to where it's not going to be profitable for truckers to operate anymore. It's not going to be profitable for airlines to operate anymore, because the cost to fuel these trucks and airplanes are going to be so exorbitantly high that they're going to lose a profit. And we know that businesses are in business to make a profit. So if that profit margin goes away, then there's no reason to do business, man. So that's going to leave the consumer at the end of the day high and dry, and these corporate investors are going to cut their losses, and it's going to be bad out here in Babylon the Great, man. Okay, so when it says here in verse 6, a measure of wheat for a penny and 3 measures of barley for a penny, right? When you go into it, let's get that word there for penny, right? We know what it means, but for the sake of edification, this is Strong's G 1220 denarion, right? Let's say Esau said.
Strong's G 1220 denarion. Denarion.
All right, this is from the Greek, and when you go into the biblical usage, denarius containing 10, a Roman silver coin in New Testament time. It took its name from it being equal to 10 asses. A number after 217 BC increased to 16, about 3.898 grams or 13.1375 an ounce. It was the principal silver coin of the Roman Empire. For the parable of the laborers in the vineyard, it would seem that a denarius was then the ordinary pay for a day's wages. Okay, so what the scripture is saying here is that in order to get a small amount of food, that's what it goes into, 3 measures for a penny and a measure of wheat. That's a small amount of food. You're going to be having to give a day's wages for a very small amount of food, man. That's inflation and hyperinflation. You see? So this is what's already happening, but only going to get worse here in Babylon the Great, man, because we see that the power of the dollar is constantly being devalued due to all these conflicts and the deliberate devaluation by the elites because they want to bring in the stable coin, this digital technocracy, man, because the dollar is very unstable right now. All right, so that's why they already put through the Genius Act, you know, and the Stable Coins Act, so that they can, you know, have something more stable that people can use, man. And this is going to be a good alternative, you know, to the average American, because the dollar very soon is going to be worth nothing. Okay, so whatever you make a day, let's say you make $250, $300 a day, all right, you're going to have to be given that in order to get a small amount of food. I mean, shit, now you go to the market, you know, you'll spend $100, you know, and you'll walk out with one bag of groceries, man. All right, so you already seen it, but it's about to get a lot worse. That's the point. You see, and I called 2nd Ezra 6 as well. Let's get that. 2nd Ezra 6, I believe that's 20. Yeah, 2nd Ezra 6 and 22. And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. Okay, all your, you know, mom and pop shops, your, you know, Burger King, KFC, McDonald's, you know, Walmart, Target, you know, okay, all these places very soon are going to appear unsown. There's going to be nothing in there. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty, and the trumpet shall give a sound, which when every man heareth, they shall be suddenly afraid. See? So this is judgment, man. This is judgment from Yahweh Bashmel Shai upon the wicked inhabitants of Babylon the Great, and it's well deserved. All right? 24 says, at that time shall friends fight one against another like enemies, and the earth shall stand in fear with those that dwell therein. The springs of the fountain shall stand still, and in 3 hours they shall not run. So this also encompasses what we read in Isaiah the 19th chapter, Egyptian against Egyptian. Okay, which Yahweh Shah said, let's get that. All right. Said a man at variance. Right, Matthew 10 and 35, for I am come to set a man at variance against his father, and the daughter against her mother, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. Okay, so Yahweh Shah said that he came to bring division. All right, he did not come to unite everybody, man. As a matter of fact, Yahweh Shah, he's coming to separate the wheat from the tares, as it is written, right? Right, he's coming to separate the wicked from the elect. All right, so this is the theme of the times, man. Division. This is all the purposes of Yahweh Bashmel Shai, right? Then when you get this right here, all right, because more wars, all right, you know, coming down the pipe, okay? Now they about to go into Cuba now. Trump tells CNN Cuba is soon going to fall. I'm going to put Marco over there. And the reason why they want to get into Cuba is because Cuba has been in cahoots with Russia and China, you know what I'm saying? And pretty much Babylon is worried about Cuba getting the nuke, all right? And that goes back to the days of the Cold War, you know, with the Cuban Missile Crisis, you know what I'm saying? It was hot back then. But these things are flared up now again, man, because Russia is over there building up their assets in the Caribbean, all right? Quiet as kept. Okay, so now they want to go into Cuba, do a regime change, and he wants to put Marco Rubio in charge over there, all right? So more wars, you know what I'm saying, coming down the pipe, all right? And 2nd Ezra 16. Second Ezra 16 and verse 17. Woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? All right, so the beginning of wars, man, all these wars jumping off on the planet Earth. Once again, the determination of Yahweh Bashmel Shai to bring in the kingdom of heaven and to take these heathen down out of their rule. Okay, especially Esau. All right, speaking of war, all right, all over the earth, really, you know what I'm saying, you have protests against conscription, or in basic terms, a military draft, man. So check this out. German high school students protest against military service. Tens of thousands of high school students took to the streets of cities all over the country to protest against the reintroduction of military service. And what do we read in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter? That what they shall not regard their kings nor princes, there shall be sedition among men, uprisings, protests. Many people believe that conscription is inevitable. Okay, so they're going to draft, all right, young men and women into these wars, all right, to fight and die for the interests of the elites, and the younger generation ain't with it. Okay, young people gathered in Berlin Central Potsdam Square on Thursday and marched through the German capital to protest against the government's plans to reintroduce military service. So quiet is kept, because we've been telling you, man, that these drafts are going to come. And you don't think they're going to do the same thing at Babylon the Great? If you don't think they're going to do this here, then you out of your damn mind. All right? These things are coming to America, man. Whether you like it or not, whether you believe it or not. This is reality. It's already happened overseas already. All right? So, you know, the youth know, which they've more than likely been talking about it, but they know that at some point they're going to implement the draft. While the police counted around 3,000 participants, organizers claimed there were 6,000 demonstrators in Berlin and 50,000 in more than 130 towns and cities across Germany. I don't think I'll be dying for my friends, relatives, or acquaintances in the worst case scenario, 17-year-old Shmuel Schatz, spokesperson for the school strike committee, told DW's Gacia O'Haines. Rather, in the end, only for those who are put into the trenches for the interest, listen to this, who are put into the trenches for the interest of large corporations like Rheinmetall, ThyssenKrupp, and others, so they can line their pockets at the expense of war. You see, so this is an awakening that's happening all over the planet Earth, man. Okay, people don't buy the narrative that, you going to fight for your country and you want to defend Germany, or you want to defend America or France or whatever. Nah, man, people know that if they go to war, that they're fighting for the interest of the global elites, okay, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, okay, which once again view the people as goyim, all right, cattle to be used to fight for their interest. That's how they look at you. They don't give a shit about you, okay?
Thousands of students in Germany are striking to say no to military service.
Because we don't want to die for this army, for this country. We don't want to die for the interests in profits. And I think, we as a youth, we as the people of Germany should be against war.
They're protesting after a law went into effect this year requiring young men to submit a questionnaire about their fitness and interest in joining the military.
Hold on, so you heard that. All right, so there was a law that went out in Germany that questioned young men about their fitness and basically their willingness to join the military. So this is how they know that eventually this thing is gonna happen. And that's why they out there protesting like this. But let's continue.
Ich bin hier, um gegen das Wehrdienstmodernisierungsgesetz zu streiken. Das ist einfach ein weiterer Schritt zur Wiedereinführung der Wehrpflicht. Weil ich eben nicht denke, dass ich irgendwie für meine Freunde oder für meine Verwandten oder meine Bekannten sterben werde, im schlimmsten Fall, sondern am Ende nur für die Interessen von irgendwelchen Großkonzernen wie im Rheinmetall, ThyssenKrupp und Co. in den Schützengraben gesteckt werde, damit die sich dann am Krieg eben die Taschen voll machen können.
Many fear this could lead to the return of compulsory military service, which was suspended here in Germany in 2011. The government says the voluntary first measure is needed because the military does not have enough people.
Wir könnten ja immer noch die Leute kämpfen.
So you heard that? All right, this is going to be necessary because the military does not have enough people. And guess what? It's the same scenario in America, Babylon the Great. They don't have enough people in the military to fight all these war fronts that they about to get into, man. And let's not forget, as we just went into, they about to go into Cuba. They about to go into Taiwan and the South China Sea. That's there. You still got the Ukraine war going on. And you also have the conflict in the Middle East, okay, with Iran and what's about to soon be Turkey going to join in, Saudi going to be in there, India, Pakistan, all these Eastern kings, North Korea, you see? So it's about to be a bloodbath on this earth, man. Okay, and this is the determination of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. And anybody that dissents against these orders that are about to come down, that's why they got these camps set up. They're going to put your ass in these camps and they're going to do what they want with you, man. All right? So we in a heavy, heavy time right now, and the world is on fire.
Die auch freiwillig dahin gehen, auch wenn das eigentlich auch schon seine Problematiken hat. Aber die Leute sollten, aber es sollte kein Zwang. Zwang ist niemals eine Lösung dafür. Natürlich wäre es möglich, wie zum Beispiel mit das Ganze attraktiver zu machen, aber grundsätzlich müssen wir dazu sagen, wir stehen ja hier eigentlich allgemein gegen die Militarisierung und wir wollen nicht, dass weiter aufgerüstet wird, selbst mit Freiwilligkeit.
Germany has very strict laws when it comes to filming minors, but off camera I spoke to many 15, 16-year-old young boys who told me they are angry at the German government and they express fears that their future is being decided for them.
Yeah, it's over with. All right, and when you get Luke the 12th chapter, what it say? Luke chapter 12. And see here. Yes, 40. Yup. Yahushua devised men. Luke 12 and 49. I am come to send fire on the earth, and what will I if it be already kindled? See? So the Lord said he come to send fire on the earth. But guess what? By the time Yahushua come back, the fire is already kindled right now. You see it. The earth is in an uproar, man. People are protesting against their governments. Okay, we're in a time of war, great sorrow, and great mournings, right? Once again, the beginning of sorrows. All right, then when you go here, okay, judgments are also taking place all across the earth. You know what I'm saying? You got all kind of earthquakes, all kind of tsunamis and storms happening. All right, which with everything going on, they're not going to report on these things, but nonetheless, we understand what time we in. That's why it's important, for the watchmen to be on the scene. All right, to inform the sincere believers, the body, about what's going on, man, because a lot of this stuff you're not going to see on the mainstream news, but nonetheless, these things are going on. They're raging. All right, so you have tornadoes going on, out there in the Midwest, from Michigan to Oklahoma. You see, so far they're saying that 8 people have been unalive. No doubt there's more than that, but just to show you that, hey, the Lord is the Lord is performing all kind of judgments on this earth right now, man. Right? And it ain't over yet. So let's check this.
Now this Fox weather alert, at least 8 people are dead after tornadoes tore through the U.S. heartland. The search is on now for the missing. Fox weather meteorologist Haley Meyer is live in Union City, Michigan, west of Detroit. Haley.
Hey there, John. I mean, it's hard to wrap your mind around the absolute devastation you see behind me. Here in Union City, 3 confirmed fatalities, and that was in this very neighborhood. And you can see just how difficult it would be to survive something like this. The National Weather Service giving it a preliminary rating of an EF3 from homes being completely swept off their foundations. A lot of those homes even potentially being tossed into Union Lake. Here behind me, there are search and rescue dive teams. At this moment, everybody is accounted for here in Union City, but they want to take every precaution necessary because we are just 24 hours post this catastrophic tornado. Now, this is historic in many ways. This would be one of the strongest and earliest in the calendar year Michigan has ever seen a tornado of this nature, one of the deadliest of this decade. And unfortunately for Union City, it was just 2 years ago where some of the very same communities were impacted by another tornado. not to this magnitude, but still to see back-to-back recent years with devastation is difficult. So I've been told that there are stories of heroism, people saving lives. We've seen many people come here and dedicate their time, money, and energy to clearing out all of these trees. It's going to be a very long process, but the emergency managers here say that they are dedicated to making sure that hope is restored to this community and they get back to a sense of normalcy as soon as they possibly can, but clearly a long road ahead of them. This here in Union City was just one spot. You travel down 45 minutes to our southwest, you head to Three Rivers, Michigan, and that's where a Menards was totally scrapped from another very intense tornado. National Weather Service surveying that damage now. So there's still a lot to get to in Michigan. Again, this was a very rare event. You do not see tornadoes of this magnitude this early in the year and this far north. It was a function of temperatures, how warm it was, and just the right conditions to spawn such a violent tornado. We'll keep you posted on Fox Weather, but also.
And ultimately, this is the judgment of Yahweh Bashmel Shai. Okay? That's why these things are happening. See? Get this as well. All right? Residents react to 4.9 magnitude earthquake, second largest in Louisiana history.
Joining us here at 6, I'm Ashley Graham.
And I'm Jeff Horchak. Well, many of you may have gotten shaken out of bed about 5:30 this morning when an earthquake centered in Red River Parish rocked northwest Louisiana and northeast Texas.
KSLA's Peyton Manuel spent the day near the earthquake site, or the center of it, talking to people who described the experience they heard as terrifying.
That's the sound many of us heard early in the morning. The United States Geological Survey confirmed an earthquake with a 4.9 magnitude hit North Louisiana, making it the second largest earthquake in state history. One of our viewers, Alana Frederick, sent us this video from outside her home.
And I looked at my phone and it just happened to catch it on my camera, and I thought it was so neat. But other than that, nothing fell, nothing was damaged at my house. It just woke us up. It was just something that we ain't never experienced before.
The heart of the earthquake hit north of Edgefield, Louisiana, not far from US 71. Lisa Adams says she lives nearby and woke up to the sound of her house shaking. Her son woke up when he was hit in the head.
As something fell off the shelf above his bed, and like a bottle of cologne, and hit him in the head and woke him up. But I mean, he's 26. He's okay. Windows were rattling. Things were falling off the wall, falling off the shelves, and things like that. So, yeah, you could tell this is the worst one we've had.
It was powerful enough for people to feel it from many miles away. Judy Guidry lives in Huxley, Texas. She says it only lasted around 30 seconds, but it was 30 seconds of pure panic.
It started out real slow, and then it got real hard. My husband, he's had some health problems, and I was thinking, is he having a seizure or something, And it just got real hard, and then it just quit.
The Red River Parish Sheriff's Office is reminding people that standard homeowners insurance policies may not cover damages from an earthquake. Now, with history made, many say they're considering getting insured just in case. Misty Alsup in Summit, Louisiana says she's one of them.
What's next? We've been having smaller earthquakes, I know, solid for the last 2 years. And it's just, they keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. What's next? And yeah, if that's the case, we are going to have to add homeowners insurance because the insurance companies are not going to cover it.
And she said the earthquakes keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger, man. Okay? And that's the increase of the birth pains, right? Let's get this. Nahum chapter 1. In verse 1, the burden of Nineveh, the book of the vision of Nahum the Elkoshite. Yahweh is jealous, and the Lord revengeth. The Lord revengeth and is furious. The Lord will take vengeance on his adversaries, and he reserveth wrath for his enemies. And how do the Lord show his wrath? Verse 3, the Lord is slow to anger, and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. The Lord hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm. All right, a whirlwind is another name for a tornado. All right, what we would see in modern terms a tornado. And in a storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. So the Lord has his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, man. Okay, So these judgments that you see in these tornadoes, these earthquakes, which we, you know what I'm saying, you read in Matthew and Luke, all right, one of the signs at the end is that you will see earthquakes in many different places, okay? So that's a sign of the end right there. And as she said, these earthquakes, they keep getting stronger and stronger, okay? And when you get, right, we'll stay in this chapter. I believe it's in this chapter. Verse, yep, here we go. 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 36. Behold the word of the Lord, receive it, believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, which these earthquakes, tornadoes, famine, pestilence, these are all part of the plagues affecting the earth. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. Okay, so what we're experiencing right now on the earth are the birth pains. Okay, just like how a woman in labor, she's going through those pains, and the pain as the child, comes, closer to be delivered, closer to be born, the pains increase until the child is born. Okay, that's what we're experiencing right now on the earth, man. Things are increasing, okay? Because while ultimately Yahweh Shah is about to return, man, so these things are going to increase until Yahweh Shah returns on the earth. See? So we can close out in 2nd Ezra chapter 9, okay? Close it out like this. Come on. Okay, 2nd Ezra chapter 9. And we'll start at verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world, then shalt thou understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee. Okay, as it is written, the words of Yahweh Bashmel Shai are faithful and true. Okay, these things will be accomplished as it is written. All right, even from the beginning, for like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end, and the end is manifest. Even so the times also of the highest have plain beginnings and wonder and powerful works, and endings and effects and signs. And every one that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed, shall be preserved from the said perils, and shall see my salvation in my land and within my borders, for I have sanctified them for me from the beginning. All right, so that's the point there. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and close out, Lord willing. This lesson's been edifying through Rakah Kedash. Call Allah Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kedash. And until next time, Lord willing, Shalom to the elect. Kwam Yasha Allah, Ba Ba Ba. Shalom.